Hi everybody. So we're back again this week. I'm Jodie,
I'm Danny.
and on the Honey podcast this week, we're going to be discussing the really important subject matter of body shaming. And the reason we thought we'd bring this subject up is having seen some of the posts and comments in relation to Billie Eilish this week. We thought it was something that would be really important to raise and discuss with readers and listeners for the Honey Pop, because it's something that a lot of us may have actually encountered ourselves in life, and it, and specifically for people like Billie being in the public eye, they seem to fall under a lot more scrutiny just for having what we would typically consider a normal, healthy body shape in society. But because she has a platform, it seems that some people consider it okay to pick apart the way she looks, completely neglecting the fact that she's a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, do you want to start off with any thoughts you've had this week, seeing everything going on?
Sure. So I really agree with you with the fact that she is such a young idol for people. I mean, she's only 18 years old. So the fact that she's being sexualized and body shamed, it's really awful because she doesn't deserve that. And you know, everybody knows that Billie is known for wearing really baggy clothing and trying to pretty much hide her body because she doesn't want that kind of attention at all. So for the paparazzi to, get her in that vulnerable position, and then for people to just pull her apart, no wonder she dresses like that. I mean, I do that too. I live in hoodies like that. I don't blame her at all. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally do. I mean, obviously we're not going to share those images or give any oxygen to them today, but just looking online at the particular article, I'm going to reference the Guardian, where they say apparently a man from 29 and from the UK took the opportunity of this photo to announce on Twitter, in 10 months Billie Eilish has developed a mid-30s wine mum body, and weirdly enough seemed to be extremely surprised when he got backlash for that, just because Billie has a platform and millions of followers, that gives anyone the entitlement to scrutinize the way she looks is ridiculous.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people could watch this video, or people that know me might say, well, you're only saying that because you're a larger girl. Well, yeah, I've been every size you can think of from small to big, and I can honestly tell you, I've never been happy at any size that I have been. But at the same time, I've also liked who I am as a person. So I can recognize that to me, other people's opinions of my appearance doesn't give me any validation or any comfort. But the thing is I know that there are plenty, and there are the majority of people out there will not think that way. They will be insecure because they've been brought up in a society where people's appearances have been mocked relentlessly, where you're being told through the lens of Instagram and other social media and apps that size 0 is the size to be, and that you have to have a certain body shape now. And and then you see all these people with body dysmorphia, and people are becoming addicted to surgeries, trying to chase something that isn't necessarily ever going to be attainable. And I know this is diverging away from Billie right now, but she is representative of the people who like the way they are, and they shouldn't, and are showing that they shouldn't have to conform to what the media are trying to tell us we should look like. I mean, I read an article from Vogue, and I'm going to reference and quote and attach these to the podcast today. But after the Instagram, after the paparazzi photos went out, she did actually share a story on her Instagram. And you have to forgive my pronunciation of the name here because I'm not very good with stuff like this, but of someone called Chizzy Duru's short video on body shaming, which I'll also link in the description today. But she made a really valid point, saying you've got to start normalizing real bodies. Okay, not everybody has a wagon behind them. Okay, guts are normal, they're normal. Boobs sag, especially after breastfeeding. Instagram isn't real. And then the clip goes on. But then we're also reminded that with the post that Billie put up, she went, "Do you really want to go back in time?" Which kind of references when back in March, she made a video about body image, and she moved her top and lowered herself into a pool of tar like black liquid while saying the words, "You have opinions, about my music, about my clothes, about my body. Some people hate what I wear. Some people praise it. Some people use it to shame others. And some people use it to shame me. If I wear what is comfortable, I am not a woman. If I shed the layers, I am a slut. So while I feel your stares and your disapproval or your sighs of relief, if I live by them, I'd never be able to move." And that's, to me, is something that was truly empowering to read. Because I didn't know about that video back in March. I must have been living under a rock or something. But she's got a normal curvy body that if she wanted to go out and put on a corset and do or wear something extremely fitted and body hugging, she should be able to do that without facing ridicule or judgment, because that's what she wants to wear. She chooses to wear baggy clothes because she gets sexualized a lot, and a lot of the time she was being sexualized when she was a minor,
right,
which is disgusting. And it's like she's damned if she does and she's damned if she doesn't. And I don't know how you feel on all of that, if I've taken over too much, but I just it's something I'm really passionate about, because I know a lot of I've got a lot of younger female friends and relatives, and I see them feeding into all of this. What I say kid, I'm in I'm in my 30s, but what 20-year-old needs to have Botox and fillers? They don't, and
right.
and has to dress a certain way because they're told that the fashion mags or the social media sites and people they follow are telling them that they have to wear things that way. I mean, I've never been one of those people to necessarily follow a trend. But so many people are, and I feel like media should be really mindful of the fact of, the fact body shaming and mental health go together perfectly, and they both feed off each other. And I feel like, don't get me wrong, the media isn't as crazy and as nasty as it was years ago, Britney Spears being a brilliant example of how bad it used to be. But it's still really harmful and has a really good subtle way of digging people out.
Yeah.
And it needs to stop. People need to go, we're not having this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. Like you said, that guy who said that about her 30-year-old wine mom body, I wish I had her body.
So do I. She's stunning.
What, in what world is she overweight? Does she have a wine mom body? What? When I saw that, I was in complete shock. I mean, I think she has a great body, and she's very fit, and I think her message is so important, because the media, there's just these unrealistic expectations for bodies, and for for how we should look and this and that. And I mean, it's only magnified when you are in the spotlight, like she is. And I think she's been a real voice of the generation in what she does with her like appearance and the way she dresses, like she doesn't want to be sexualized by people, and like that, like she shouldn't have to like dress like that to stop people from doing that. People should not be doing that.
I totally agree.
Especially because like you said, this was happening when she was a minor. She just turned 18.
Yeah.
So, and she's been in the spotlight for what, like 3 years now?
Yeah.
Or so. And you know, I think that people like they just are awful. And it like the way, I think the quote that you read about her is just really important to think about. And it's like, no matter what, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, you know. Whatever you're wearing or whatever, you're always going to get like people being nasty. And like she's so awesome for just like lashing back, like, hey, we need to like realize that people have real bodies and no one deserves like to be picked apart. And it just, I mean, I think the whole situation just makes me really upset for her, because she just tries so hard to steer away from like all that negativity. And like paparazzi caught her on like an off day where she's wearing some tight clothing, and then the world picks her apart. I think it's bullshit.
I would totally agree. And I mean, like, what's really also important to take away from it is like, yeah, Billie does have a normal body, a body a lot of us may like, you know, aspire to want to have as well.
Right.
But what is also worth knowing is, even if you don't have a body like Billie's, even if you're overweight like me, or you've like got scars or acne, or you know your hair doesn't look a certain way, or you're not, you know, you got to embrace who you are. That's what needs to be out there more. The fact that our differences are what make us unique as human beings, and instead of being picked apart and overanalyzed by people, whether you're in the spotlight or not, what I feel like is really important for people to embrace is celebrating what makes them different,
Yep.
whether it's physically or a part of your personality. Like, you know, that's what people like Billie stand for. And
Right.
that's why it's so important. Is, I mean, you can listen to some of her songs and some of the speeches she's had, and like, you know, people like Lady Gaga are an example as well. She's been mocked for her appearance before, for wearing weird clothes, you know, for not necessarily conforming to what a pop star should look like.
Right.
Jessie Nelson from Little Mix has always, bless her, since being classed as, there was a point where everyone used to call her the overweight one in the band, and they used to be so rude to her in the media. And honestly, like, she is one of the most stunningly beautiful women I've actually ever seen. And the fact that, you know, that it's effective, she made a documentary about it over here for the BBC, and it's extremely powerful. Like, if you're in the UK or Europe, like, I recommend watching it. But like, yeah, it was so good. Showing you know, and it showed the highs and the real lows of what it's done to her. And it just frustrates me, because like, I know I'm saying this as someone who's older, but I've always felt like, you know, like I'm repeating myself, but what's different about you is what you should embrace and make the most out of, because and love that apart about you, because like, self-love is a really important thing. And the media and people online and trolls have just, you know, it's really easy for me to say this instead of putting it into action, but you really shouldn't let them define who you are as a person.
Yeah.
The fact that you know, like you said, they caught Billie on an off day where she wouldn't even normally go out publicly like that because of the scrutiny and the picking apart she's had before. But they, from the paparazzi's perspective, they got lucky, you know. And the only thing I do love is that you did see a change, because when that idiot posted what he did, he got a bad reception for it. You know, whereas, you know, but the thing is there are sometimes it's really easy. You could have 100 people shouting at you, and 99 of them could be saying the nicest things, but I guarantee you the one that you're going to go away about is the one nasty thing that someone says.
Absolutely.
And people need to be mindful of that and think before they speak or think before they tweet, in my
And I
opinion.
think that, like you said, like that is like the best message possible that can come from all this is just accepting and, like, you know, loving yourself for who you are. I mean, everyone's different, and no, like you said, no one's ever satisfied with themselves. Like, we always want to work on ourselves, we always want to be better, but it's all about like finding those things that you do love about yourself and embracing them. Like that's the most important message that we could take from this, I
I
think.
totally agree. I couldn't have said it any better. Like, that's really like what I wanted to say when we thought about talking about this today is, you know, your imperfections are really your perfections and what make
Right.
you a uniquely cool person. And you know, if you have any like issues with anything that like we've discussed today, I'm also going to like find some really helpful links for anyone that might come across this podcast. And I also feel like if anything's come out of the horrible photo, like the fact it's not a horrible photo, it's a great photo, it's just the fact that people decided to make it into a horrible thing by being mean and rude to her.
Right.
You know, if anyone can take anything away from that, it's the fact that people were saying this isn't cool, you should not be saying this is
Yeah.
you, and people were discussing that. We all need to keep doing that,
It's like
because
people sticking up for people, you know, like we're all humans and we all have imperfections. And I think I totally agree with you. We're living in kind of a different world where people are starting to stand up for one another. And that is like just amazing to see.
and also, could you, like, thinking about it, like, imagine if they harnessed all of that energy that took for them to say those words,
Right.
imagine if they had harnessed into doing that as something positive, or being a social activist, or pushing for the changes that we need in the world right now. But no, they had to use their time to try
Right.
and
What's the point of expelling that negative energy into the world? You know, like
Mhm.
there's so much negativity and so many bad things happening right now. Like, why be a person to put more of that energy out? Like,
Mm.
it's just silly. I totally agree. He could have taken that energy and done so much more and just been more helpful and more positive. It's like a literal waste of your life to
Yeah.
be like that.
And to sound like really old right now, it just takes me something to my nan says all the time: if you haven't got anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Right. I mean, seriously, what's the point?
Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to add today?
I think that we covered a really important and really great topic, and I hope that people can learn something from this. I mean, take the positive away from it.
Me too. And if anyone watching on YouTube wants to comment below if they need to talk about it, then we'd love to hear from you, and we'll be fishing the comments to hopefully have that chat with you. But yeah, if you like what you've got from this, because it's the sort of subjects you want us to start talking about a bit more, also let us know about that. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, you can also send us a tweet at the Honeypot, or we're the same on Instagram and Facebook. And we love to hear from you guys. So until next week, it's a goodbye from me and a goodbye from Danny. Bye.